Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today, here with Brian, Massey's Main Entertainment, Randall Nelson, Doc. And today we're going to take on a little bit of a different video than we've done in the past. As you see by the thumbnail, it's 1965. What we've done, we put a ballot out of coming up with 50 songs, our top 50 songs from that year with some restrictions. A composite is what we're looking for. We're going to have graphics up to see how each of us voted, and there's a point system involved here as well. People out there saying, well, you've done 1965. Yes, we have. We did it on Brian's channel, but it was a different format. It was a perfect album that flowed together, and it was some restrictions as about one artist per album and that type of thing. So this is a little different. This is me doing my stats in conjunction with some music, and we hope it works. So just to let everybody know how it's going to go. Pulling up the graphic here, what do we have? We have 50 songs that are on a ballot, and everybody has to vote at least 8 Beatles songs, 5 Bob Dylan, as you can see on the screen, 2 Rolling Stones, 2 Who, 2 The Animals, 2 The Kinks, 4 other British Invasion, because 1965 was loaded with that type of music, 6 Motown songs, 4 R&B/soul songs that are outside of Motown. We want 1 Beach Boys song from that year, and then 10 various pop songs that were charted. In addition, there are 4 wild card songs at the person's choosing. All of us have different styles of music we like, so it opens it up and lets you freestyle a little bit. Wild cards consisting of deep cuts, B-sides, some jazz instrumentals, jazz singing, whatever. Other genres other than what was based in these categories here. So that's where we're at. Should be interesting to see how everybody lines their top 50, let alone top 10. So let me just get rid of that graphic. And we have a point system too. I don't want to forget the point system, which is 10 points for first place, 7 for second, 6 for third, fourth and fifth are 5 points, and then the rest of the top 10's 4. The teens are 3 points, 2 points for 20 to 30, and then 31 to 50. Just for making the list, you get a point. So that's the way it's going to work. Let me get rid of this screen here. Jen, how did you find this 1965? Was it hard? We'll talk a little bit, and then we'll get into the individual lists. What do you think?
I thought it was pretty. It was fun. It was interesting to put it together. The hardest part is actually ranking, to be honest with you. So there's 65, a lot of great tunes here, man. So thank God between 31 and 50 is only worth 1 point. So that ranking maybe doesn't matter, or in some senses,
doesn't matter.
Them point. But once you get into the teens and the tens and stuff like that, and the top tens, then that matters on where you're placing these tunes, on what you really think about them. But great tunes in 65 here to put together, man.
Yeah. I agree with Doc. I feel like I spent probably 80% of my effort on just getting the top 10 where I wanted them, and then it's like 10% on 10, 11 through 30, and then the other little bit on just throwing the last 20 on there. I mean, I did take a little bit more care in ranking that last 20, even though they're all just worth 1 point, because you just never know how that's going to figure in on a tie break, maybe down the line somewhere. So,
yeah, cool.
Yeah, it was a tough kind of trying to narrow it down, and there's still songs that you leave off that you wish you could put on, but you got to narrow it down somehow.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Agree.
All right, so the order tonight will be Doc, Randy, Brian, and myself, he said. And as you can see, we're going to do, as we go, we're going to unveil the list. Nobody knows what everybody has on their list, obviously. So this is the whole fun part of it. We're going to wing it. Doc's going to start with his 10 through 1, and we'll make a little comment on it, and then we'll go to Randy, Brian, and myself. So, Doc, kick it off, if you would. What do you have in the top 10?
Starting off my top 10 from 65. I'm going to the Animals. We got to get out of this place at number 10 for me.
Wow.
Just a song for the times and a song that's still here, man. It's a great song. Animals just don't get talked a lot about. I think they're a really great band, man. When you get down to it, so
Especially in that mid 60s period.
Yeah, mid 60s, late 60s. These guys are good, man. Really good.
Yeah. All
Moving
right.
to my number 9. Although I'm a big Who fan, if you don't be at all. So, but I've got Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere from the Who. I think the Who have really broke onto the scene here and just I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They turned rock and roll on their ear here a little, and it sounds different. They are different. They're heavier, and kind of my wheelhouse, man. This is the sound I really like. So you'll find that out as we move along. Also have a soft spot for the Kinks at this era here, man, especially in the 60s here. Where have all the good times gone by the Kinks? It's going to be my number 8.
He's on a roll.
Oh, yeah. It's look at the playlist, man. Remember we talked about, you come over, I put it in my basement. Come on over, I'll put this on in my basement. We'll have a good time, man. So this is hopefully my top 10 what we're going to get here. So that's what I think anyway. But, sometimes you got to tone it down a little. I debate some things in my head and stuff like that, but I still go back to them. So I guess my number 7 is going to come in with the Stones as Tears Go By.
Nice.
Yeah. The Stones are kicking here too, man. You can pick any Stones song in a lot of senses, right? But I don't know. This one is still with me as one of my favorite Stones tunes, man. So it's just the way it works. Here come the Beatles. And Yesterday at number 6 for me from the Beatles. A timeless classic, if you want the truth in my eyes. And I think it still stands, and it's still one of the best songs maybe, they ever did. But placement's one thing, but I don't think you can go wrong with Yesterday popping in a top 10 in 65. Sound of Silence, man. There's some heavy hitters here, I think. But and I'm not a massive Simon and Garfunkel kind of guy, but when they hit, man, they hit really solid. And this is it doesn't get much better than this. So, Sound of Silence is my number 5. Number 4 was one that I didn't have before previously, guys. So that's something that's just popped up, and I keep hearing it. I see it, and I put it on my list, man. I don't care. It's Unchained Melody. Number 4.
Nice.
Yeah, the more I hear the song, it's a fantastic song. There's no other way to put it, and it's another timeless one. I think they're all timeless here at some of these stages. But number 3, going back to the Beatles in my life, man.
Yeah.
Beatles in 65. Yeah. Can't go wrong. I don't think so. Having a couple in the top 10, I don't think anything wrong with that either.
Nice.
Like I said,
off my favorite album.
Yeah.
Rubber Soul.
Yeah, Rubber Soul. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I already told you I was a big Who fan, man. My Generation is my second favorite from 1965. The ultimate rock song, I guess, in 1965 in a lot of senses, man. Man, shows you where the Who's going to go. But I loved where it went. But my number 1 is Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone.
There you go. Took the cake. Can't argue with that.
No,
Yeah.
no. I think even the Rolling Stones magazine probably agree with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the list, folks, from Doc. Got to get out of this place. The Who. Where have all the good times gone? As Tears Go By. Yesterday, The Sound of Silence. Unchained Melody. In My Life. My Generation. And Like a Rolling Stone. Wow.
Yeah. Excellent list. Very Dockish.
Yeah.
Very Dockish indeed.
Here, buddy.
Very 1965 too. What can I say? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my first jobs, we used to sing that all the time. We got to get out of this place.
And here we are now, still singing it, Randy.
Is it just me, or do I feel like we need to have like Maureen McCormick and some of the other girls from
The Brady?
The Brady Bunch on the other side of this.
Just stripping down the side.
All right. So there's Doc's list. Let's see what Randy has in store for us. Anything different? Any similarities? Take it away.
There's a couple things that are similar.
Good.
Yeah.
My number 10 is going to be a different one, though. It's from The Who, The Kids Are All Right.
Yeah. Great tune too, buddy.
One of their most infectious tunes, I think. Somewhat of a mod anthem with these rich harmonies and kind of a hint at Baroque pop. My number 9, probably the first Bob Dylan song I got enamored with, Positively 4th Street. Of course, that's nowhere in the lyrics. This has Bob at his most acerbic with some great put downs, also some nice organ and piano in that one.
Nice.
Yep.
My number 8, it's the same old song, The Four Tops. Great Holland Dozier Holland tune, who wrote quite a few songs for The Four Tops. Got the great Levi Stubbs vocals on this one, and a nice Mike Terry sax solo in there. Got the Funk Brothers that were playing on the song. My number 7 is King of the Road, Roger Miller. It's just a fun finger popping tune about an affable train hopping hobo.
Yep.
I don't know what we can say about it. Number 6, I've got You've Lost That Loving Feeling by the Righteous Brothers. Hearing Bill Medley's deep expressive vocals and then the sweet sounds of Bobby Hatfield later. Got that Phil Spector production. And actually, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, when he heard it, called it the best rock record he'd ever heard. So,
Wow.
My number 5 is The Tracks of My Tears.
Nice.
Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Kind of a throwback tune to an earlier R&B and doo-wop time with the smooth Smokey Robinson vocal on it. He was a little more of a crooner, I think, than the gospel-y sounds of some of the other Motown guys. My number 4 is My Girl, The Temptations. And that does have that deep gospel-y vocal by David Ruffin with strings and the shimmering guitar. Probably when I think of a Motown tune, it's My Girl, I think is the first one I would think of.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Just Like Tom Thumb's Blues. Bob Dylan, very catchy folk rock tune with this Latin flavor and a host of literary references on there. Everything from Jack Kerouac to Edgar Allan Poe on that one. But, it's always been one of my favorites. My number 2, and probably my favorite Beatles tune, it's In My Life by the Beatles, off my favorite Beatles album as well, Rubber Soul. It's one of his more personal songs. One of the first personal songs I think that John Lennon wrote was this one. And actually in 2002, Mojo had it as the best song ever. So
wow,
they did our ranking.
Gee.
And my number 1 is the same. It's Like a Rolling Stone, Bob Dylan. One of the most important songs, I think, in rock history, with a new voice and lyrics taking a bigger role in the genre. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Well,
great list.
2 lists.
Yeah.
Two the same number 1s, which who would have thunk that, really?
Right.
Great.
I thought with our diverse group, I didn't think that was going to happen at all. I thought top 10s we would have some of the same stuff, but I like King of the Road, of course, because REM covered it for their Dead Letter Office album. They did a cover of King of the Road, so I'm a big fan of that song.
And a lot more Motown. Randy went with more of the Motown than the British Invasion.
And I expected Randy to have more Motown stuff. I really thought that was going to happen.
Yeah, it's a great list, right? Yeah, I have the same number 1 and 2, kind of like in the ballpark, 1 and 3, and I think I got 3 or 4 more of your list in my next 10. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, we'll see that at the end when we compare all of our lists. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right, Brian's up with his top 10.
All right,
and Away we go.
My number 10, I started off from Otis Blues album, which is, there's a lot of covers on that particular album. And I've listened to several of his albums. This is my favorite. I've been loving you for too long. I just think it's such a soulful, his voice, I think, is right where you want it to be, right in that wheelhouse. I think that where it's the most appealing for the audiences and anybody who's an audiophile. It's just absolutely beautiful. Number 9, I've got It's All Over Now, Baby Blue by Bob Dylan. This is like we just recently did a top 25 songs of Bob Dylan on my channel with Rich here. And I know this made my list. I can't remember exactly if it made Rich's list or where, but
it did.
Really great.
It was on both lists.
Yeah, really great tune from him. Been covered a number of times by a lot of different artists, including like the Animals do a cover of it too in the mid 70s. That's actually very good. Number 8, I've got the Stones here, but I've got I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Considered, I think, in one of the earlier publications of Rolling Stone's top 500 songs of all time, they actually had this one at number 1. That was probably in the early 2000s, and then they released subsequent lists. It kind of fell down a little bit, but I think it's one of those rock anthems that is just absolutely timeless. You have to include it. Number 7, probably my favorite song from Donovan. I got Catch the Wind. It's from the album. I think I can't remember how the title actually goes, but it's what's been done and what's been did or something like that. It's really interesting, short phonetic spellings of the words in there, but it's actually a really great album. I'm a fan of a lot of his other work too, obviously from Sunshine Superman and other tracks like that, but this is one of his earlier tunes. Number 6, this is where I used the wild card. I've got the Sonics, Have Love Will Travel. I know there was several other songs we could have used on there, several covers even that are actually on that album, but it's just an interesting sound that you wouldn't expect coming out of 1965. It's very garage rock, very gritty sound for band, and I wanted to include it here. Number 5 for me, going back to Dylan, this is one of my favorite songs by him. It Takes a Lot to Laugh. It Takes a Train to Cry. So just something about the track just appeals to me. I mean, from beyond its abstract title, for a song, I just think it's really interesting. And there's been a few covers of it by contemporary bands in the 2010s that they took different takes on it. One was very synth poppy that I heard, and it's really interesting song. So I wanted to include it. Number 4, I think Rich might have this one somewhere on his list. I'm not sure where. I've got Heart Full of Soul by the Yardbirds. I really like the raga rock that's kind of in there, to use some Far Eastern instrumentation and stuff like that in there, and mixed with the guitar and the other types of sounds for that. So I wanted to include it. Number 3, Doc and Randy both had this here as well, In My Life by the Beatles.
Very good.
So I think there's some consensus there. I mean, I think it's definitely the best song off of that particular album, and maybe one of their top 10 best songs ever, giving a little bit of love to Rich's favorite album there. So number 2, again, I used the wild card here. I've got Feeling Good by Nina Simone. I've listened to several of her albums as well, like Pastel Blues and Wild as the Wind, and also her in concert in the early 60s. I'm just absolutely enamored with her voice, and I think her cover of that song is like the best of all time. I've heard a lot of different versions of this song, by far the best. But number 1 for me is The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. I think it's maybe the most timeless song of 1965. Just really very interesting and very poignant lyrics about our society, and I just think it's great. It had to be number 1 on my list.
Awesome. Well, so far we have In My Life on all 3 lists. I believe it's the only one that's made all 3.
Yeah.
I think so.
Maybe down below. No, that's it. That's the one.
I should have included that Nina Simone song on my list. I didn't, but it is great, and I do have several of her albums.
Yeah, it's a beautiful voice.
Did we all have The Sound of Silence? I'm trying to remember now. Let's look.
I did.
I think I did. I did.
So that would be 2 then, right? There's Doc.
I mean, not on my top 10. I didn't have it. In
I see. 10. Okay, it's somewhere, but it's not in the top 10. I got you.
Right.
But fantastic. I love the Yardbirds. Obviously, Brian knows that.
Yeah.
I listened. I wasn't really familiar with the Sonics because they weren't hit makers. Sort of a really rough sound, but I really enjoyed that song, Have Love Will Travel. I had to hear it after he put it on his list and I received it. So I really enjoyed that one. That's a new one for me. Catch the Wind's beautiful. Satisfaction, iconic. I mean, Dylan songs, you can't go wrong with those. So fantastic list.
Does Have Love Will Travel, is that an instrumental or is that a...
No, that's all. That's lyrics. Yep.
Because I have Dwayne Eddy doing that with that same title. I just wonder if it was the same song.
I like the way he belts that song. I have love. He just, it's like very raw. It's very raw.
Yeah, it is. Like it's early Stooges type of stuff.
Yeah. Like a punk element to it.
Yeah.
In a way. All right. So here we go. I'm going to finish this up here and give you my list. I don't have a lot to say because I'll be busy typing, but my number 10 is Mr. Tambourine Man. By the Byrds. I went with the Byrds version of the Dylan song. I just like, their take on it. Folk rock really came into flow in that time in the mid 60s. A lot of it based on Dylan's writing and the Byrds' interpretation of the song. Number 9. This is where I have Heart Full of Soul. Made my top 10. My favorite Yardbird song. And part of the British Invasion, and wanted to include that. Number 8, I have one that nobody's had yet, and that's California Dreamin' by the Mamas and Papas. Cracked my top 10. All the leaves are brown, the sky is gray. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Mamas and Papas. That California sound, beautiful stuff. And John Phillips, controversial dude, but he got those guys to sing in harmony. Mama Cass did her thing. So I wanted to put that there. Number 7 for me is one that Randy had, Positively 4th Street, one of my all-time favorite Bob Dylan tunes, that acerbic wit, those nasty little digs at a person that he's talking about, just fantastic lyricism, attitude, all that good stuff. Number 6, I went with the Temps also with My Girl. I just think it's too good a song for me to leave off. Again, Randy said it best. When you think of Motown, you think of this song, My Girl. You can't help singing along. Just a great. I love David Ruffin's voice, one of my favorite voices. Number 5, I went back-to-back Motown. I went with the Tracks of My Tears also, Smokey and the Miracles. A great song. I mean, Dylan called him like the poet laureate of rock or whatever he said. He complimented Smokey as a great writer, which he was, and the Miracles backing him up on this. So I have that at number 5. Top 5 song for me. Number 4. Oh yeah, Doc, we're on syncopato on this one here. It's My Generation by The Who.
Right on, buddy.
I believe you had it at 2. I had it at 4.
Yeah.
Hope I die before I get old. Everybody knows that lyric. And there we go. Number 3. This is where I have The Sound of Silence. It's the top 3 for me. Great song by Simon and Garfunkel. The lyrics, can't beat them. That beginning little guitar thing that Paul's playing, Art's voice in conjunction with it, just perfect for that time. If I could spell Garfunkel, I'd be in business. There we go. Number 2. It's the quadruple hat trick, as they say. In My Life, the Beatles comes in at number 2. And number 1, hate to do it, but it's going to be Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. Too important a song for me, and the transition from folk to rock, all that stuff that's been said before. It made my number one for 1965. So there's the list all the way down.
Your top 4 looks a lot like my top 5.
Got a little Motown, little. Go ahead.
California Dreaming just missed my top 10. Just missed it. So when I voted on that, so yeah,
we have a bunch of matches on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at. You said the Motown there, the Tracks of My Tears, and My Girl are the 2 that you think of first when you think of like Motown songs. And I go, well, I'm looking at my next set of 10 or whatever. I think I got 2 more Motown songs I like a little bit more, but those are, I think, are my list of my next 10 songs. I got 4 Motowns, I think. So,
all right, so let me remove this, and then we'll bring up the master list with everybody's individual rankings, and we'll see how it played out. So now let's take a look at our top composite top 10. Like a Rolling Stone, as you can see, came out on top, 33 points. 3 of us had it number 1. Brian had it at number 16. In My Life, a solid. We had 2 2s and 2 3s. I mean, that took the second spot. Right
there. Yeah.
26 points. Simon and Garfunkel, Sound of Silence, a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 24. So 3 top 5 finishes. Takes the third spot.
Excellent.
My Generation, Doc and I had it 2 and 4 respectively, but you guys had it in your top 20. Brian at 13, Randy at 20. So that finishes 4th. Tracks of My Tears and My Girl, 5 and 6 respectively. Very nice placing. Satisfaction came in at number 7. As you can see, so far, every one of these songs in the top 10 made all 4 of our lists at some point.
Right.
Yes.
What was solid? We had a 9 and a 4, and you guys had it at 24 and 20, or 30 rather. So that finishes at number 8, which is really a strong showing for that song, I think, to make the top 10. Same with Positively 4th Street, all in the top 25 of our individual lists. And then rounding out, this is one we didn't talk about. In the Midnight Hour, got very good representation here. All in the teens, 11.
It's all, that's a solid ranking.
50. Tremendous ranking.
That's a solid ranking from all of us.
It is. California Dreaming just edged out being in the top 10. Same with Mr. Tambourine Man and Unchained Melody. They all did well. Help was one of my wild cards. You can see at 40. I had more than 8 Beatles songs, so that made a wild card for me. Somebody else, Brian, had it at 40 also. Isn't that weird that we both had that in the same number? But it got every vote. I think we had 18 songs that received all of votes from all 4 of us. 18 out of the 50. It is. Some of the other tunes, Dylan's, of course, well represented. Subterranean Homesick Blues is on here. Ballad of a Thin Man. There's you look at the California Girls by the Beach Boys. Everybody had it on their list, but it only got 7 points because it was down on the list. Everybody didn't. No one had it in their top 10, and only one. Myself had it at 19. So interesting.
Very interesting.
Say something, then I'll pull another part.
But I was going to say, like I know you said, like, oh, we're at 40 and like 29 and stuff like that. But the points matter here, right? It's only like from 20 to 30 get certain points, and from 31 to
31 to 50 gets 1.
31 to 50 gets 1. So the placement might not matter on where it is on the list, right?
Well, when you look at the individual points on the far right, a lot of these are ties. They end up with 6 points, as you can see.
Right.
On the far right. And a lot of them are 5. They're all ties because we don't have a big sample size. We only have 4 guys. If we had 10 people doing this, it would be more spread out, more substantially a better survey. But just going through the list, King of the Road, 2 of us had that, Rich and Randy. Norwegian Wood, 3 of the 4 of us had it, but we all had it in the 20. So it got 2 points for each of us, and it's only 6 points total. You can see Ticket to Ride, Turn, 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 Get Off My Cloud. There's just so many great songs. Shotgun, The Kinks, back to back here with Where Have All the Good Times Gone and Well Respected Man.
Right.
So, well, let's go to Mr. Irrelevant if we can and see what just got in at number 50 on the list.
on points. Let's see.
On point.
I guess if they're tied, do you just take the one that got the highest ranking by somebody?
Yeah, that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
As we pull it back up, boom. What do we have here? Number 50, we have, well, a lot of this stuff from 44 down through 51, they all got 4 points. Well Respected Man, Desolation Row, Even Destruction, For Your Love, Hang On Sloopy did well. Got all 4 of us had votes.
Actually, that would be number 50 because all 4 of us got it.
Right.
All 4 of us got it. And look at the numbers: 50, a 49, a 45, and a 38. We all had to represent it, but it was buried down on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. So all the songs there, and I think we had 86 songs, by the way, that at least got 1 vote. And if we go down to that, what was that at? 86 votes or 86 songs. What? All right, here we go. Wooly Bully had one vote from Brian. It got a point at number 47. Same with Randy. Randy had Run for Your Life. Doc had Rescue Me.
Yeah.
Brian had Love Potion number 9. Randy's wild card, one of his wild cards was Love Mine Is Zero, No Limit. That got a point. The Bo Brummels, Tom Jones, the Turtles, they all got 1 point for their showing, which is interesting. So a lot of different music, a lot of great songs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What a fun list to do.
It was fun. So let's close this out. We're at 33 minutes. Fun exercise. We'd like to go ahead and do these year by year, but again, it depends on viewership and people watch it and comment and like. We'll keep doing it. If not,
Definitely.
what can I say? Everybody's out there watching people go to shows and page through albums and show the vinyl and audiophile stuff. If you like that, fine. There's plenty of great channels for you. If you like something different, come back to us and see us. We'd like to have you back. Leave some comments. Give us your top 10. If you don't want to do 50, I understand it's a lot of work.
Totally.
Give us your top 10 songs from 1965. See how they compare with ours individually and ours as a composite. So a lot of fun. Go over and subscribe to Randall Nelson's channel, Massey's Main Entertainment, Brian's channel. Check those guys out. There'll be links in the description below. We hope to see everybody back again for 1966 next time. So for the guys, this is Rich. Take care, and we will see you in our next video. Take care.